March 2020, Washington, D.C. Inside a secure federal building, an IT administrator logs into a monitoring dashboard that looks perfectly normal. Green check marks, no alerts, no breaches, no warnings. What he doesn't know is that foreign intelligence has already been inside this network for months, reading emails, copying files, mapping trust relationships, not breaking anything, just watching. This isn't a smash-and-grab cyber attack. There's no ransom note, no systems go offline, no one notices a thing. Because the hackers didn't break in, they were invited. To understand how this happens, you have to go back almost a year earlier to a company most Americans have never heard of, but almost every major institution relies on: SolarWinds. If you've never heard the name, that's the point. SolarWinds makes network management software, the kind of software that quietly sits in the background of massive organizations, monitoring traffic, managing systems, and keeping everything running smoothly. Governments use it, the military uses it, Fortune 500 companies use it. If your job depends on computers talking to each other, there's a good chance SolarWinds is somewhere in the chain. One product matters more than all the others: Orion. Orion is trusted, deeply trusted. It doesn't just sit on the edge of networks, it runs inside them. It has high-level permissions, it sees everything, which makes it the perfect place to hide. Sometime in late 2019, attackers compromised SolarWinds' software build system, not the customers, not the servers running Orion, the place where Orion itself is created. This is the digital equivalent of poisoning food at the factory instead of the grocery store. The attackers inject a tiny piece of malicious code into Orion updates. The code is subtle, elegant, almost polite. It doesn't activate immediately. It doesn't contact suspicious servers. It doesn't crash systems. Instead, it waits for up to 2 weeks. When it finally wakes up, it checks where it is. Is this a government network? A military contractor? A tech company worth exploiting? If the answer is no, it does nothing. If the answer is yes, it quietly opens a door. By March 2020, SolarWinds pushes this update to customers, 18,000 of them, including the US Treasury, the Department of Commerce, Homeland Security, the Pentagon, Microsoft, FireEye. Every organization installs the update willingly, because it's signed, because it's trusted, because it came from SolarWinds. This is what makes the attack so devastating. There is no malware alert, no firewall block, no intrusion detection warning. The attackers are now living inside some of the most sensitive networks on Earth, and they don't rush. They study internal emails, they watch login patterns, they learn who has access to what. They move slowly, carefully, like someone memorizing the layout of a house before turning on the lights. For months, nothing happens. Then December 2020, Santa Clara, California. FireEye, one of the world's most respected cybersecurity firms, notices something strange inside its own network. Not a breach, a missing tool, a red team framework, used by FireEye to simulate attacks. Someone copied it. That shouldn't be possible. FireEye tears its systems apart looking for answers. What they find changes everything. They discover a backdoor inside SolarWinds Orion, a legitimate update file, digitally signed, trusted by default. The realization hits fast and hard. If FireEye was compromised this way, others were too. They go public. Within days, the US government is in full crisis mode. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency issues an emergency directive: disconnect SolarWinds Orion immediately. By then, it's far too late. Investigators begin piecing together what the attackers accessed: emails, internal documents, security configurations, authentication systems. This wasn't espionage in the traditional sense. No single secret stolen, no dramatic leak. This was mapping, preparation, positioning. Who did? It becomes clear almost immediately. The techniques, the patience, the target selection. This wasn't cybercrime. This was a nation-state operation. Specifically, Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR. Unlike noisy ransomware gangs, the SVR doesn't want money. They want leverage. They want knowledge. They want options. By sitting inside US networks for nearly a year, they gained something far more valuable than stolen files. They gained understanding. Who trusts who? Which systems matter most? Where the real choke points are? This is why SolarWinds is often described as the most damaging cyber espionage operation in US history. Not because of what was taken, but because of what could be taken next. And here's the most unsettling part. For nearly 12 months, the defenders did everything right. They patched systems, They monitored logs, they followed best practices, and none of it mattered, because the threat didn't look like an attack, it looked like normal, and that raises the question that keeps intelligence officials awake at night. If Russia could do this once, how many other trusted systems are already compromised? And more importantly, what else did they leave behind? And here's the part that makes security professionals uncomfortable. This wasn't about stealing files. It wasn't about espionage trophies or dramatic leaks. By sitting inside US networks for nearly a year, the attackers learned how America actually works. Who trusts who? Which systems matter most? Where the real choke points are. They watched how incidents were handled, how alerts were ignored, how credentials moved between systems. They didn't need to break anything. They didn't need to rush, because understanding the system is more powerful than damaging it. When the breach was finally exposed, the response was immediate. Software vendors were audited, supply chains were scrutinized. Zero trust became the new buzzword. But none of that changes the uncomfortable truth. SolarWinds didn't fail because of a single mistake. It failed because the system worked exactly as designed. Trusted software was trusted automatically, signed code was assumed safe, and updates were installed without question. No one exploited a vulnerability. They exploited belief. And that's why SolarWinds isn't remembered as just a hack. It's remembered as the moment we realize something worse. In a world built on invisible dependencies, the most dangerous threat isn't the attacker you don't see, it's the one you already trust.